good evening to all of you. We're towards the end of the summit. We've had a very insightful and a very eventful day today. Thank you so much for joining us firstly. And before we start with the discussion, before we get into the conversation, let's start with a quick round of introductions, a little bit about yourself, what you do, and a little bit about your organization, please. We'll start with you.
Hi, good evening all. My name is BIKRAM NAYAK. This is my second job. I joined Larsen & Toubro 1997 and I worked there almost 26 years. And then I left L&T and joined Vedanta. And I am basically based out of Odisha and Bangalore is my hometown. So happy to see all of you here. Over to you.
Thank you. Ms. TRINA.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I know it's been a long day for all of you. Just bear with us for the last 28.49 minutes. Right? So I'm sure it'll be exciting and interesting. So has the rest of the day been. My name is TRINA BALAKRISHNAN. I am the Global HR Head for Coforge BPS. Have been in the industry for over 20 years now. Joined as a campus hire, a kid in TCS. Moved on to Accenture, spent maximum time with Accenture Consulting. Have a long stint with BPO industry as well, with WNS, Concentrix and others. And now I'm with Coforge. I head globally all the geos of Coforge for the BPO function. Happy to be here, looking forward to the interaction.
Ms. ATREYI.
Hi everyone. Yeah, it's a very long day. Hi, I'm ATREYI. Have been in the industry for 23 plus years. And currently I'm with Tech Mahindra, handled multiple roles in TechM. This is my 19th year in TechM. I was the global POSH head for TechM for 3 years where I represented the board. Currently I handle a large part of the business HR functions globally. And apart from work, I'm also a pianist. In my 40s, I'm also, learning piano in London College of Music. And I'm grade 6, going to give my exam in December.
Mr. Vinod.
So, hi, I am VINODA THAKUR. I am currently heading HR for Aditya, Aluminium, Hindalco, Aditya Group. Have been into the industry in the profession since last 24 years into power, aluminum smelting, mining, and have been into different roles in HR. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As an HR journalist, before we get into this topic, I have a question that I want to keep open to all the panelists. The budget just came out and it out and out spoke about employment, education, skilling. So what better than, who's better to ask this question and their perspective, the HR's perspective on the budget this year? We'll start from this side.
So, SAVI, to start with finance first. So, again, I'll tell you, let's not go back to budget. Today itself, the Honorable Prime Minister, CII conference, in his speech, he shared that the capital expenditure of the whole country has grown up by 5 times. And this is a statement in itself, makes a big impact on the whole scenario in the talent market. And the budget is just maybe 2 weeks back, and the same thing being emphasized on the capital expenditure where the country is ready to spend a lot in terms of growth, industry and all. So the HR points which we can derive from this is, point number 1, when there is people they are ready to spend, that means there will be jobs, there will be a lot of activities happening, people will be engaged. So starting from talent acquisition, when we are spending so much, that means we have to produce. When we have to go into produce means we have to generate products and services. That means we need people. And if you go deep down, there will be people in all the segments. But the budget has emphasized more on the manufacturing one. And inside manufacturing, if you see, there are new things, the newest things like the semiconductor, then there are growths in chip and digital. These are the sectors where maximum business will happen and maximum heavy loading will happen. So there will be huge task for the talent acquisition professionals and people because some of the things, skills and businesses very new to India, like the semiconductor thing. Today, if you see very few companies in the country other than Tata, somehow Vedanta also is there, L&T is also there. Very few are there and they're hardly any subject matter experts, whether it's design or production. We have to bring people, Micron and other semiconductor companies across the globe. And the talent also needs to be brought from there. And today, since I said I am from Bangalore, my daughter is studying second year of electronics. Last year, there is a huge demand of electronics students in the country. And Bangalore, you won't get, you'll get a computer science branch very easily, but electronics, because the country, the people, they're much more kind of aware of what is happening and all. So the budget again focuses on digital, semiconductor and all. So the people who are in the electronics business, the companies, will be flourishing like anything. That is from the talent acquisition piece. Coming to talent management, there are a lot of emphasis given on research and development. When I say development, that means, again, we have to also bring the capability. As I said, the talents are not available in the country. You have to kind of buy from outside, buy from the other countries. In the same time, we have to nurture from within. So talent development is going to play a key role in the next 3 to 4 years. How you want to do, it's up to the business call. It is up to the industry, what kind of talent development mechanism they are in place. And the last one, which I'll bring up on here, is the compound Ben. And you can say the total rewards, because when this kind of skills coming, niche skills and all, you will see a surge in the CTC expectations and all. I have also recruited head of semiconductor projects and all, which is happening there in Gujarat. And the CTC range is, phenomenal, because those skills are not there. They will ask for lot of money and all. Now the organizations needs to see how they want to tweak their, compensation and total rewards mechanism and philosophy. So these are the three big takeaways from the budget, starting from the capital expenditure and as I told you, research and development. These are the two main points, and these are the three byproducts you can correlate.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Trina, just, in 30 seconds, missed opportunities in this year's budget.
I think before the missed opportunities, while I agree with my friend here, I'll just take a lighter note over here. All that my 11-year-old cares is the iPhone prices have gone down. Right? So I think she's happy about that. We are happy about that. The misses, I think, from a taxation standpoint, while, I should say that it's a positive from a BPS and an ITES industry, because many of our employees fall in the lower part of the, the salary grid. So it helps them from a taxation standpoint, but the mid and the senior levels is not too much of impact. So I think that's one of the areas that I see could have been done maybe in a little more better way. And of course, the investment part has been a shocker for all of us, because anything you invest in is getting taxable. So I would see that as a miss from my personal end, right? But I'm still happy about the iPhone prices.
Thank you, Ms. ATREYI.
Yeah. One interesting thing is the employee-linked incentive scheme, where there are 3 schemes, right, where one is the benefit to the manufacturing industry, where 4 years, there is incentives both to the employee as well as the employer. Similarly, for the employee, 1 month of salary, up to a maximum of 15,000 over 2 years, the employee would be getting. From the employer perspective, up to 3,000 rupees, the Provident Fund refund is what is also there. However, on the execution point, I think more details are yet to be awaited. So that is, I think, an area which would need to be further delved.
Thank you. Mr. Vinod, we've covered most part of that. I'll come straight to the topic now. Our topic for today is strategic talent management and, tactics to attract and also retain employees. Now, when we talk about today's workforce, especially about the Gen Zs, they look for, in the second panel, we established that JDs are not going anywhere anytime soon, right? But Gen Z, they look for something beyond JDs. They're looking for a purpose. They're looking for employers or organizations that are going above and beyond, towards sustainability, or let's say CSR, and also providing flexible hours. What are your views on this? How can one organization become an employer of choice?
So you mentioned some of the key points in your question itself. So they're looking for a purpose. So what is that? So brand is built out of purpose, brand is built out of people, the vision, the values of the organization. And it is not built up in one day. It is how the organization lives, and they demonstrate the value into the community around where they live. So in today's context, I would say the values and the purpose of the organization are the key drivers which act as pillars of the brand for any organization to live with. And this is where the generations getting more beyond the normal routine work which they get into the workplace. If you give them the opportunity to go beyond their normal routine work, the challenges which you provide them, the purpose they can go into the society and spend time with the community over there, that gives them a professional satisfaction that yes, there are something which they can contribute, because today's Gen Z is not limited to the routine 8 to 5 work hours. Okay. So that flexibility has to be brought into that. The values of the organization give them the trust of the organization. Like at Aditya Birla Group, we say that we build responsible and dynamic businesses and institutions that inspire trust. So trust is not only within, trust is in and around where we operate across. And these values certainly create the brand of the organization, which attracts people and holds them, because it's in today's context, money is important, but people look beyond that. People look beyond that yes, money I can get in any of the organization, but what is the work-life balance? What is the freedom to think and freedom to operate across? Am I getting challenging assignments? Am I getting that empowerment to deliver what I expect? So these all create brands, and some of the things like the voice of the people. This creates the advocacy across, wherein you get those brand ambassadors across built and created with these values.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bikram, you said you stayed with L&T for almost 26 years. So, who better to answer this question? What made L&T the employer of choice, or what were some of the, retaining strategies that they used that you stayed with them for such a long period of time?
I can tell you that's a very exciting place it was, because couple of things. That's a huge group. When you have such a conglomerate, every 3 years I used to get different kind of assignments. And as a professional, I realized long back that whether it's within one company or you go outside, 3 years is a period where you should change. Like a lot of companies, like in Vedanta, we also promote talent from within. Aditya Birla does that. They have a 3x3 matrix, like 3 different businesses, 3 different regions, and 3 different roles. I got all those things within L&T. And I would have worked in almost 7 to 8 verticals in those days, 5-6 different locations. So that made me stay. And same thing happens in most of the conglomerates, like the Aditya Birla or Vedanta. See, we have KN Energy, we have Hindustan Zinc, we have, in Vedanta I'm saying, Vedanta Aluminium, we have Sesagoa, we have semiconductor. So when you have variety of businesses and variety of roles, it's not about only HR. You can go to sales and marketing. You can also get into business development. You can get into business roles. So if the organization's willpower is to provide you opportunities, they can create roles for you. And these are the recipes of longevity. If you can provide such environment where you get everything at one place, then why to go? Why to jump the ship?
Thank you so much for sharing that. TRINA, coming to you, speaking about the diversity and inclusion aspect of it, what about inclusivity in the recruitment process? How do you attract a diverse pool of candidates? Also, apart from that, there are several studies that a diverse team is linked to higher productivity. Have you seen that personally? And if yes, would you like to share an example as well?
Yeah, so as much as diversity is important, another term which is very important is inclusion, right? So we may do the best of the things from a diversity strategy standpoint, but if you're not inclusive, which means that you do not have both genders or PWD or people, of LGBTQ, etc., on the table taking decisions, then it doesn't make sense to have a diversity strategy. So for me and in Coforge, we believe in inclusivity more than the diversity itself. Coming to your initial question of, some of the recruitment related stuff that we do, we ensure that when we send across CVs, we do not have the gender mentioned, right? So we try and see that the CV is neutral from a gender perspective so that it's on the skill and it's based on the meritocracy that the profile gets selected, right? We try to ensure that there is a 50-50% of resumes or even the interviews that come in from a gender perspective. We have a large location of Philippines, right, which is completely lopsided on the women's side, right? So their male diversity is an issue, right? It's very, very heavy and very, very, diverse from a cultural standpoint, from an LGBTQ standpoint, right? So overall, from a diversity and inclusion standpoint, I think the Gen Z and the newer generations, Alpha and the others that are coming in, look for all of these things, right? So the traditional way of recruiting is now gone. Another interesting thing I think that we try and do is the Career 2.0, which is for mothers to come back, right? People who have taken sabbaticals to come back and join the workforce because they do wonders, right? So all the workforce that we've taken back from sabbaticals have done wonders for us, and we try and see how they can grow. The last piece that I would say is analytics. It's very, very important that we have data to back up, right? So we should have data to see if women are, applying for IJPs, women are applying for career progressions. Is there an unconscious bias in the system? Is there any bias that is there from an increment standpoint? Is there any bias from a rating standpoint? So those analytics is also very, very important. So we at Coforge believe that it's an all-rounded effort from a diversity and inclusion standpoint.
Thank you, Trina. Ms. ATREYI, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. Yes, having our policies, to be absolutely inclusive, which is completely gender agnostic, is what we really follow to the T. So one is, of course, looking at the organization of 150,000 associates globally, we do a lot of local hiring, in terms of our interventions are not only linked to India, but of course globally. Now, starting from the basic infrastructure, like, whether it is simple things like, having your sanitary pad dispensers in office, to say having gender agnostic washrooms, right, which the LGBTQ communities can do, other ramps, right, where our associates can use. So those are the hygiene checks which we do in all locations. In terms of, some of a very different policy, like, of course, 18 years back, I remember I was traveling with my, I was traveling for work to Mumbai, and it was a very urgent meeting. My son was just 1 year. So I had a very difficult time because my husband was also traveling, right? So to get the nanny and to get all that was really difficult. So I was having that, it was very difficult. Then I called my mom. She traveled from, Calcutta to Bangalore, and somehow I managed it. So we have now launched a policy for all young moms. If you're going to travel, of course on emergency, and if you have a small child, you can actually take a caregiver along with you. That caregiver can be even your family member, right? Anyone can travel with you. So, that person can really stay with you, and your child can stay with you while you can do the meetings. So, maybe 18 years back, if I'm sure I would have enjoyed traveling at that time. So these small things which we typically do. So we have these, warriors in associates who typically come back and tell us, okay, we want this, we want that. In fact, for young moms, you also have a very flexible work from home. Till 1 year, they can really do a work from home. In fact, on the gender agnostic part, even for young dads, because dads also have to take care, right, of their kids. So till the child is 4 months, even for fathers, we have work from home, right, to have a shared responsibility. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you. Mr. Vinod, what are your views on the returnship programs that both your co-panelists have shared? What are your views on this?
See, this is like equal opportunity in the organization. So we say that women are at least 50% population we are sharing. And if that inclusion is not there, we are losing a lot more opportunity and the talent across if the organization is not focusing across. So that is one part. Another is the way we include them in our various aspects. Being a core manufacturing company, the women at shop floor is so effective in today's context that that was not even thought of few years back. Okay, whether it is in mining, whether it is in the hardcore smelting plants also. So this is, but the lot of work goes beyond to make that successful across, to make this comfortable work environment, because it's not because they are not capable, it is because the organizations were not prepared with these changes. So lot of thought process, and going forward, the organizations which don't think on these aspects will be left behind in the journey which we are moving forward.
Right. Thank you. Mr. BIKRAM, now we will speak about the HR tech aspect of, human resources. Now, HR tech has been there for ages. It has been there for years. However, the technologies that HR tech has been using, it has changed over the years. It has evolved over the years. What difference have you seen over the years?
I will tell you in one sentence, more productive people and less number of resources. That is what the business needs. And if you ask me how the productivity is getting enhanced and the talent pool is shrinking, I can say it's good because like TRINA was saying that the CV is getting parsing happening, and we get CVs which are gender agnostic, and imagine there was a time when the recruiter has to see 30, 40 CVs and all. Today, you just get 3, 4 CVs and you know whether it will click or not. How much time we are saving. And as Atreyi said that the JNG, they are so restless. If you ask them to do so mundane work, routine type of work, they get bored. It's always better to give them something new. Like in the compensation, now the outside of this room, I saw a couple of companies which are coming. They're giving, say, pay advances. Okay, you need not have to ask that I have some emergency at home, I have some, my kids getting into colleges or some medical thing, we need money. Earlier they will go to HR will take some approvals and all. Today it is, you need not have to go to HR. The app is there, the organizations are there which are paying interest free, and it's all about how much customers you have. Now we have empaneled with one such organization, and today I met somebody that giving the same kind of services. This is how it is shrinking. I can say the shared service or the compound benefit part of thing. A day will come where even the appraisal will be outsourced. I'm telling you, the people will go and see that from the outside. Like today, the 360 feedback, the feedbacks which are coming from outside are very much reliable, and people also believe in those things. So a day will come that the customers, the stakeholders will decide who will be promoted, and all those analytics will come out. You know what is going to happen, like the presidential polls, the exit polls and all, like that within the organization. This kind of things will come, and don't you think these are interesting? Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. TRINA, coming back to you, one very important strategy of retaining employees is upskilling them throughout their careers. Career progression is also very important. I want to ask you, how do you view executive education also, for leaders who have been working in a way of, in their own ways for years and years? Do you see some kind of resistance to change, as new technologies are coming in, new ways are coming in? Do you see resistance to change as well from leaders?
There's a yes and no. Yeah, but I think as more and more the newer generation, and I strongly believe that the newer generation is our competitors, right? So if they are there with technology, I guess the mid-generation and the older generation needs to cope up, right? So there is no two ways that they need to change. I think that realization is there, the opportunity is there, the avenues are there. It's just a matter of time that the adoption is there. The adoption, I would say honestly, is slightly low, but there is a lot of focus on, grooming, the leadership as well. I'm sure, they have now realized that it's as important as, really reading a book, that, they have to be updated and upbeat with all the technology that is there. So yeah, executive technology, trainings, upskilling is at the most important, right? And I think the adoption is there, but we're getting there. I wouldn't say that it is there 100%, but it's getting there.
Ms. ATREYI, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. In terms of, two things. One is, of course, whether you look at, in fact, the Gen Alpha, right? They will be the future for us. In fact, in one of the studies, in the World Economic Forum, it is predicted that next year, 1/4 of our global workforce would be actually Gen Z, who probably, people, maybe they will not have so much of patience like us. They would want to do different work. Of course, those are very cliche stuff, which we have read. So in terms of having, different interventions for different group, whether it is a skilling or whether it is having an academia doing programs, that is how we have adapted. Like, for example, for our sales, for our sales folks, right, we have a sales enablement or a sales leadership training where we have a combination of both the academia as well as the business insights, which typically helps. For our business managers also, many times we do send them even now for MBA programs. So it's a combination, and which are very curated, right? It's a combination of business as well as academia. So that's how we look at it.
Thank you. Mr. Vinoda, when we talk about future trends, how do you view them? What do you anticipate would be the future trends in talent management?
See, if you talk about future trends, there are some very visible and some very radical things which I foresee that the time is going to come and those things will come. Some very obvious things are like DEI has to be there and there is no second thought about it. Now companies have to prepare for this. Those who have not gone into that detail, it is must. This will come. Another is what we talked about in terms of changing demographics, changing workforce, different levels. So multi-generational workforce are there in the organizations who have been 15, 20, 30 years in the organization. So some of the key critical people skills would be very prominent and important if you look at the future talent management. In addition to the technical skills, the managers would have to know the conflict management skills and certain skills, because this diversity will bring various things into picture. Another is when we talk about the technology part, AI, ML, and various other changes happening across. So reskilling, upskilling is something very important, because as in the various sessions in the morning, it was said that around 26% of jobs are getting directly impacted. Out of this, 12% may be phased out, but another 14% requires the change. And that is the important responsibility of the organization, which we have seen in the pandemic era. People were not tuned of Microsoft Teams meeting and Zoom meeting. But the upskilling and reskilling helped them to move into this process. Another, from the recruitment point of view, because these skill changes are happening, so I'm seeing that maybe after a few years, the physical degree may not have that importance, rather than the skills are very important. So you will be hiring people for the skills, not for the degree. Today we are putting it like preferred requirement. So the degree would be a preferred requirement, rather than the key skills would be the requirement which we'll be looking in the market. Another, the hybrid working is there, but already discussions are on in the market. Maybe a radical change in this sometime would come, wherein certain sector of the industry would be forced to go 4 days a week. Today, 5 days and 5.5 days or 6 days is norms. Maybe they would say it's 48 hours. I want to work for 4 days for 48 hours and rest for another 2 days. The traditional organization hierarchies may need to be relooked. That may not exist as it is existing today. So I think these are some of the thoughts which I want to put it in across.
Thank you. Very well put. Do you want to add something to that? Future trends in talent management.
The basic remains the same, like meritocracy. Then promote people not based on the tenure, rather caliber. There was a time, now a lot of industry friends, they used to aspire by 40 I should be general manager. Today 30 is the age. Okay, by 30. Even, it will shrink. Now, in 10 years time, they want to have a career path and the process where they can reach that level. And they're ready for those kind of challenges. It's not like that, you bring the horse to the water and they don't use it. They are ready. They are doing extremely well. And there are organizations like in Vedanta also. We have the Vedanta Leadership Development Programs where we have taken a kind of philosophy that in 10 years, we'll create this VLDP, the talents who come through that channel, they should be in 10 years in the business role and level. And we are quite excited because the result is good. They are being given multiple and enhanced role, and the capabilities also we are sending them for various talent management initiatives with the programs within the organization and mentoring, and that helps. There are people who are extremely successful, and this trend is going to be the norm going forward, that there is no more tenure based. Like there was a time you were 40 and the people who are very senior, they are also reporting to you. Today that is no more exist. Today it is all based on the skills and the talent, and that is going to remain for long.
Thank you. Oh, we're out of time, but Trina, any last piece of advice for the freshers and the young talent in this country?
So for the freshers, they just need to have some more patience. I think patience is the key. Many of us spoke about it. They want everything easy and quick. Doesn't happen like that. So they need to work through. And there is a little bit of difference between experience and, that how it comes, right? So you need to work through to get that experience. So that's also important for the freshers and the Gen Alpha to know. The second piece for all of us to know is, with whatever AI comes in, whatever technology comes in, we as human resources should not forget the human element in it, right? So that human element is very, very important. Resources will remain resources. But if we don't remain human and don't have that personal one-on-one touch with the employees, then we got it all wrong.
Ms. ATREYI, your closing remarks, please.
Yeah. Another important aspect, I know all of us are very focused, or some of us are not focused, is our health, right? Health and mental well-being is something which, whether a fresher or anyone should really focus on. So this is something, which is a non-negotiable. So, that whatever busy we are with our, Instas and all that stuff going on, multitasking, we love to multitask. I think health is something we should just take a back step and really focus on our health. And organizations are there to support, right, all of us, whether it is a self-care centers and all that. So I think health and mental well-being is definitely very, very important, in this era.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for all the panelists. Thank you so much.